We are live from the friendly confines of the basement. One more sleep until we tee it up at Jack's place. One more sleep until one of the most fun, most stern, most difficult tests on the PGA Tour on an annual basis. You got to be excited for the Memorial. Probably my favorite event of the summer, just to watch on TV. My favorite event of the summer, as a pure golf fun week, is the Travelers, but just as for golf test, it's got to be the Memorial. So fun few weeks we got coming up. I mean, the majors don't count. The U.S. Open is a bonus, and that's in the middle of both of them. So let's get right into it. Narratives, interview reactions, final thoughts, bets, DFS plays. So talking about some of the interviews, there was a lot of interviews this week. Not Rory, Xander, Scotty Scheffler, Colin, Victor Hovland, Jack Nicklaus, of course. They talked about the golf course. They talked a little bit about why these guys like it, what they do well, what they don't do well, and they had very similar responses. And it's nothing crazy. It's what we've been talking about all week. They just talked about how, yeah, I like it here because these difficult conditions reward my ball striking and the thick rough and the narrow fairways and firm greens. That's why I do good in the majors. It's not rocket science. That's why like I said, this is one of the few events on a yearly basis that the green on Data Golf, the green on whatever website you're looking at, gets rewarded. So nothing crazy from a golf swing point of view. I will say with Scotty, he said that he hadn't had much time to practice last week because of the weather in Texas and because of the child. So if you want a reason to fade Scotty Scheffler, he said that he feels well rested, but he hasn't practiced much in the last week. So at Scotty Scheffler, you're going to need something to get on or off him at the highest price. So if that's the nugget you needed, hopefully it goes well for you. I am going to take the sword, yield it, and try to slay the dragon of Scotty Scheffler. I'm betting with Scotty Scheffler, and I'm fading him in DFS. So could go well, could go horrifically with me, but it's worked before. We slayed the dragon at the Houston Open. Jaeger 55-1, not a big deal. Let's do it again, and I guess let's get right to it. We bet Steven Jaeger this week at 125-1. I just like more than anything the scoring conditions. He's not in the best tee to green form, but the last time we saw an event won in like the 9 to 15 range was Houston, and he was the winner. So we're getting 125-1. This guy is a gamer. This guy is when he's at his best, he's a elite total driver, which is step one. The iron play is definitely hit or miss, but I mean, he's a 125-1, and it hasn't been in the great form, but he checks box one. He should play out of the fairway, and he should be long in the fairway. If you're hitting the rough, you're just boned. So I kind of just loaded up on the total driving aspect. You really, really, really got to key in on those long drivers. So I don't know why I started with Jaeger, kind of just because we were talking about slaying the dragon, and that just flowed right into Jaeger. But we'll just do the long shots. And I also bet Kurt Kitayama. I spoke about Kurt maybe a chalk long shot at 120-1, 100-1, because when you look at his profile, this man is on a tee to green mission right now. And look, if you can win at Bay Hill, you can do it at Murrayfield Village. So the crossover at those two golf courses is just incredible. Kurt, I hate watching him. I hate his swing. I hate everything about him. But if you win me a ticket, a 120-1 ticket, I will love you. So let's try it with Kurt. Should I parlay Scotty T20 with tomorrow to be third? I don't know if you want to do that. I don't know if you want to. I'd prefer parlaying Scotty with Juventus corners. If you can get Juventus corners over 9.5, it's probably a better bet than tomorrow being Thursday, because you just never know. With our President Biden, you never know what tomorrow can bring. So I prefer Juventus corners if you want to parlay something with Scotty. So we will move on to another long shot. Akshay Bhatia, 150-1. This kid, like there's you think of golf courses, you think of build for Akshay Bhatia, long and straight off the tee, high-end ball striking. Why not? Why not give him a run? He's already won on tour, and if there's a spot for Akshay to break through and win, or I'm betting a lot of like first timers here. If there's a spot to break through and get that maiden win in a big spot, obviously a major is a key spot, but that's very far fetched. Why not try Memorial? Like, that is a big time event. Sure, let's do it, Akshay. What's good, Wheezy? Thanks for joining. All right, another long shot. Lee Hodges. Lee Hodges may just be a big game hunter. Finished T12 last week, finished T12 here last year, and finished T12 at the PGA Championship. And we can't forget, Lee Hodges at the 2023 Genesis Invitational, he was in the mix. He was 1,000 to 1 that week, and he was just in the mix. The dude is still young, but he's already won on tour. And where did he win? He won in Blaine, the 3M Open, along not difficult, but a long bent grass golf course that asks you to hit a lot of fairways and asks you to hit a lot of long irons. I'm not comparing the two golf courses, but long Midwest, why not give Lee Hodges a run? He might just simply be good as fuck at golf. I'm down for some Lee, 220 to 1. So, and let's go all the way back up to the top. Ludwig, 28 to 1. From the Boots on Ground report, Ludwig looks good. Ludwig is flushing it. And then from there, great number. He opened, I think, on DraftKings on Monday morning in like the 16 to 18 range, all the way down. I saw all the way to 30. There was 30s available, but I got in at 28. Like I said with Akshay, this is a great spot for Ludwig to break through and get that big first win. I mean, he has a win already, but like that first like big win. Is he going to win a major this year? Probably not. But can he win an elevated event in a big field on a difficult golf course? Sure. I bet Ludwig one time this year, it was the Farmers, where he played really well but putt like a child. Hopefully he can still play really well and putt like himself, but because we know he is a good putter and a great player. It's all about the health with Ludwig, I guess, because recently he's got that knee issue and kind of held him back. But from what I'm hearing, he looks okay. But at the end of the day, if there were no questions around Ludwig, he would be 16 to 1. So we're getting a great number because there is questions around him. I'm down 28 to 1. Great number. Went down to Max Homa, 45 to 1. Not in good form. Not in good form at all. But if this was last year or June of last year and someone told you, I'll give you a 45 to 1 on Max Homa at Murrayfield Village, you would bet it in an instant. Look, if Max Homa was in great form, yeah, he'd be 25 to 1. Also, Bob Mack just won after playing like shit at the Colonial. Max Homa just played like shit at the Colonial, got a week off to Dial. It's not the best year for Max Homa, I understand. But when Max Homa's cooking, he's long and straight off the tee. He's a great long iron player. And this guy's finished T6 or better in his last 2 trips to this golf course. Something about this golf course, it yields itself to course horses. Patrick Cantlay, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa. They always play well here, no matter their form. Could Max Homa be that next course horse at Murrayfield? Why not? Maybe. He definitely could be. So 45 to 1, great number on a winner and a guy with heart and a guy with dog. I am down. And remember when he almost won the Masters a few weeks ago? He wasn't in great form heading into that week either. Like, nothing is perfect in golf betting. You can't just rely on recency bias. If you rely on recency bias, you are a sheep. You are getting lapped. Colin Morikawa is a sheepish bet this week. You know who else is sheepish bet this week? Denny McCarthy. Sheepish bets. Yes, Colin is playing good golf, but you're buying him at an absolute peak. I remember a few months ago, everyone was shitting on Colin Morikawa. Yeah, this guy sucks at golf. This guy, he won majors when no one was watching. He'll never contend again. Now we love him at 16 to 1. Yeah, I get the good course history, but don't be a sheep. Step outside the box. Take that good chance. That's how we win. We have a ton of winners already this season, and it's because it. Maverick was sheep last week. He was 30, 20, 35 to 1 when he's literally like 100 to 1 every single week. Don't get me wrong. I've made plenty of sheep bets in my golf gambling career. When I first started, I'm going to bet Alex Noren last week was the sheepiest of sheep bets, I think, in the entire season. Alex Noren was like 30 to 1 because he had good stats. And he was just like, if Alex Noren won at 30 to 1 when he's like 200 to 1, like on average in his entire career, that would have shut down the world. Yeah. Colin Morikawa is a sheep bet. And if he wins, I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong. But I'm never gonna lie and I'm gonna share my honest opinion. I think Colin Morikawa is a very sheepish pick this week. Got off to a little tangent. So Max Homa. Then we went with Sahith Tigala 55-1. Him missing a cut in Canada is virtually meaningless to me. If Sahith is one of the most volatile golfers on the planet. He is going to miss cuts. But this season, he's kind of been more consistent. It was just a matter of time before he missed cuts. And like last week, he was 20-1. You don't bet Sahith at peak odds. You bet Sahith when he's drifting, when he's long odds, because one, he can contend on any golf course. Two, he can also miss a cut on any golf course. It's simply a numbers thing with Sahith. You bet Sahith when the number is right. He's finished T5 here in his career. He has elite upside in every single strokes gain category. He can gain 5 across the board. And it just, like I said with Ludwig, like I said with Akshay, a great spot for a breakthrough big win because he's won before on tour. Big win. Yeah, talk about the golf course. I have 2 more bets, and I'll get into the golf course a little bit. So 2 more. Matt Fitz, Will Zalatoris. Matt Fitz, 55-1. I didn't go into the week thinking I was going to bet Matt Fitz at all, but this was my thought before I bet Xander Schauffele at the PGA Championship. Like, I was so high on Xander's game in 2024, and I thought he would break through. I feel the same about Matt Fitzpatrick. I think he's going to have another big win. And this is a golf course where it's driver heavy. His best skill is total driving, and he's actually been driving the ball well. He hasn't really been doing anything else well. And then from there, I'm like, all right, he finished T9 last year. It's simply a good number. And it's probably my least favorite bet, but I had room for it on the card. So Matt Fitz, 55-1. I'm at a macro level. I'm high on Matt Fitz in 2024. So we're going to run him out there. And then finally, Will Zalatoris, 75-1. Will Zalatoris, his last 3 golf tournaments that were in difficult conditions, the Masters, the Genesis Invitational, and the Arnold Palmer Invitational, 3 of the hardest tests we see on tour, all top 10s. All of his other tournaments, not great results. With that being said, you play Zalatoris in difficult conditions. You do not play Zalatoris when the scoring is 20 under. Here, we have very difficult conditions. No more. That's it. That's all you need to know. You play Zal in difficult conditions. We're getting a 75-1 on a guy who was 20-1, like for a ton of times in his PGA Tour career in courses like this. I'm down for Willie Z. You bet him when the scoring is hard. So that kind of leads right into this question. Murrayfield Village, one of the hardest golf course on tour. But scoring is going to be tough. It always is. Like the last 2 years were won single digits under par. It is a very long golf course. Fairways are not incredibly tough to hit, but if you do miss the fairway, you will be in very, very thick rough. And I'm hearing that there's been some rain prior. There might be some rain during the week. So that will do 2 things. That will make scoring from the fairway a tad easier because you'll be able to stop it on the greens a little bit. But if you're missing fairways and you're in the rough, that makes scrambling and getting your ball out of the thick, wet rough much, much harder. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're looking for, at the end of the day, what that means is find guys who hit fairways. Because if you're not getting step 1, you can be the greatest iron player on tour. If you're not getting by step 1 and playing out of the fairway, you're boned, especially around here. Long, difficult tests. And then if the rain holds off and the sun comes out, the golf course can firm up. That will make fairways harder to hit, but stopping the ball on the green much harder. And around the green is not overly difficult. It's very lush and fluffy. And the fluffier the lie, the easier it is to chip. These professionals can chip the lights out in a grassy, thick lie around the greens. But when it gets firm and you got to nip it perfectly off of tight grass, that's when it gets difficult. And Victor Hovland winning last year and having a fine around the green week just perfectly sums that up, because Victor Hovland's one of the worst chippers on tour, and you get him at a golf course that's fluffy around the greens. It leads to success for Victor Hovland, and also why he played so well at Valhalla, fluffy around the greens. It's going to be the direct opposite at Pinehurst next week. It's going to be very tight and slopey and fast around the greens, and chipping is going to be very tough. So we'll get there. Going to talk about some DFS plays, but yeah, the golf course, it's just tough. And I think the The rain might make the scoring a little bit easier. I think I'm going to go with like 12 to 14 under wins it this year. I know that's a big jump from, what was it, 7 last year? Maybe not all the way to 14, but I think we get to double digits this year because guys are obviously going to hit fairways, and if it's wet, they'll be able to stop it on the greens, roll a ton more putts. So I'm down for a little bit more scoring, but at the end of the day, birdie props are not going to be a sure gimme this week. I like Cam Young over in bogeys tomorrow. I like Danny McCarthy under in birdies tomorrow. 100%. Yeah. This is one of the, obviously we always want golfers who strokes gain or off the tee, strokes gain on approach, obviously every single week. But this is one of the, here in Bay Hill, it gets rewarded the most. Like just pure ball striking off the tee and approach. Because the harder the golf course, the more that gets rewarded. When golf courses are easier, it leads to a lot more avenues to success, chip-ins, rolling a ton of putts. You want pure ball striking here in Bay Hill, and that is why golfers like Scottie Scheffler have so much success. Like the best players play well on the harder courses. So yeah, that's what we're looking for this week. This is awesome. If this is your first time watching this week, you're going to be in for a joy because you're going to be like, how are these guys struggling so much? Like, they look like me out there. A brutal, difficult, fun golf course to watch. So I'm very excited, as you guys can hear and see. I'm very excited. So some key DFS plays that I will get into. Top, you're going to want to choose one of Rory, of Xander, of Scotty. I think on my Monday show I went with Xander, but I've grown to love Rory up here. I love Rory in this top range. They're all around the same ownership. Scotty's got it probably going to come in the highest. Victor's going to be the cheapest because he's the fourth highest priced golfer. Not cheapest, the less owned. But although he is the less owned, I'm not ready to go to Victor yet. Like, this is the first spot where it's like, okay, this really makes sense for Viktor Hovland because he had that great PGA championship and he's defending champ. I get it, but we were just shitting on Viktor Hovland a month ago. I'm not ready to jump in after one good week. If he beats me, he beats me, but I'm going to take a step back and let Viktor Hovland play out a little bit. Sure, I hope he's back. I love Viktor Hovland, but I'm just going to wait and see a little bit, even at a little bit less ownership than Rory McIlroy. But at the end of the day, I do think Viktor Hovland will come closer than the projections are showing in terms of ownership. But why I love Rory, he's just been playing a lot of golf, and I just like Rory when he gets on a roll, and he's a generational peak the week before a major guy. So if that's on track, he's gonna play really well here this week. He's played well here a ton of times in his career. He's in good form. Definitely down for some roars this week. Siwoo Kim, I think Siwoo Kim is a great pivot off of Tony Finau in the 7K range. Tony Finau makes so much sense. He's a lock for 4 strokes ball striking, but at double the ownership at the entire range, I'm going to have to pivot off. But this is a week where chalk will work. Like, not all chalk's going to work, but this is a week where chalk will in your DFS lineups. The top lineup might have 2 or 3 like 20% owned guys, just because harder courses are more predictable because the best players win, ball striking prevails. But I just don't want to place a guy in my lineup who is like double the ownership of everyone else. So I think Siwoo is a good pivot off of Tony Finau in that 7K range. Yeah, in the 75 range, I like Sepp, and I also like Will Zalatoris. Obviously, I just had the Will Zalatoris tangent. Sepp's in great ball striking form. This is definitely a course that he can contend at, can possibly break through for a big win. So I'm down for some Sepp at 7.5. And then at the bottom of the 7K range, or what is it, 8K range, Sungjae Im. He doesn't have the best course history. This isn't the best golf course for Sungjae Im, but he's finally gaining strokes on approach, and he's a very streaky golfer. So you want Sungjae when he's showing that streakiness, and he's doing it right now. I also spoke about how the bottom of the 7K range is so weird. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. Outside of guys like Kurt Kitayama and Stefan Jaeger, who I think are more obvious, like that 7-1 range to like 7-3 is really bad. And it's so bad that I think one of those random guys is going to top 5 because like everyone's going to skip over this range. Therefore, I'm going to sprinkle some Harris English in. Like, none of it looks good, but Harris English is a guy who randomly pops on really, really difficult golf courses. He always plays great in U.S. Opens. This is very U.S. Open-esque this week. He's a great driver. He's a great driver. That's why he pops in these spots. So I just think this range is gross. It doesn't really make sense, but I'm gonna sprinkle some Harris English down at that 7K range. The 6K range, I'm not gonna go through it because I do a whole podcast dedicated to the 6K range. It's about 4 minutes long. So if you want my 6K plays, just go over to the YouTube. It's there. And yeah, those are some DFS plays. Those are some bets. Real quickly, I bet 4 guys on live if you want me to run out the live card. Taylor Gooch, Carlos Ortiz, Sergio Garcia, Sebastian Munoz. Those are my live picks. And DP World Tour, I bet too. So go over to @Jersway Betting if you want those picks. And any other questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Feel free to say what's up. Fun week we have. We're teeing it up tomorrow morning. Yeah, I think we're in for a winner this week. I will see you guys tomorrow or Friday with the weekend leaderboard update. And yeah, cheers. Let's win together. Let's do it. Peace out.